When you went back and looked at how they depicted you in this show, what were some of the things that you took real issue with?
I feel like I took real issue with the attitude, the selfish, and then making it seem like I wasn't coachable, or making it seem like I was just, excuse my words, and it was just a dick or an asshole. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't look at myself like that. I just looked at myself as like a young man growing up to be able to speak on his own self about man to man instead of coach to player. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like it went from being from coach to player to man to man when it came down of the incidents that me and Buddy Stevens or anything about the show or that was prescribed about me was perceived, and that's not me at all.
And Isaiah, how did you feel about that? When you went back and watched it
I
and
mean,
thought this.
I felt pretty bad about it because, like, you got to think of everything that I was going through in the midst of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting backlash from everywhere. Get backlash from everywhere. It don't matter if it was the good, the bad, or the ugly. It was always perceived as you're this, and that's what you're going to be, and that's how I felt on the inside. And at the end of the day, that's not me. You know what I'm saying? I know me. I know how I handle life the way I want to handle or the way I want to look at it, regardless if it's somebody trying to be down on me or somebody trying to bring me up. It's all about principle. And right now that principle is wrong. That's wrong. It's wrong.
And I mean, not just football career wise, but also personally.
Yes, absolutely.
How
I'm about
was
to say
that affecting you?
it's more so affected me more so when it comes down to life in general instead of when it comes down to football. I can always handle football and be able to take the backlash when it comes down to football perspective. But when it comes down to life perspective, like I got two kids, I got two boys. I'm not about to have my sons grow up and be able to still be on the internet or this still like they watch it to this day. They may not know what's going on, but they're seeing that their daddy is in a situation that's not their dad.
What has the response been like, from
Oh,
fellow
my phone's
players
been
or other
blowing up.
people?
It's ain't no non. It's nonstop. It's
So,
nonstop, and I mean, I feel like that's what it needs to be. Like I said, how I look at things, everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has a right to say whatever they want to say. But I know the truth. I was there. I lived it. I know what I was going through. And I mean, no, it needs to be talked about and it needs to be dealt with, regardless of the time the Pharisee or the time frame in between. It needs to be handled. I was raised to where God gave you one thing in this thing, and that's your name. And right now, my name is being prescribed wrong, and I'd be damned if my name be prescribed wrong in the way I know how I am in my life and under the eyes of God. You feel what I'm saying? I know how I am. That's not me. So I'd be damned if I let somebody just talk about my name and just say whatever they want. And that's not the case. Y'all just going off of what y'all see. It's just I'm more so speak about myself. I hate speaking on other things that and you know what I'm saying bring forth for everything. It's just more so me. And I'm the way I am in life, man. I can't do it. I can't just go day to day. Having my son can be able to just click on this and be like, "Oh, Dad, what does that mean? Why are they saying this about you? Or why is this? Why I can't do that? I can't." I was 17 when this dropped and when they first did the season. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't supposed to be on this show. I wasn't supposed to be on this field. I wasn't supposed to be on none of that. But when I put myself in on that kick return, I felt like in that moment, I established myself on the show. They didn't establish me on that show. They didn't say, hey, you want to be a main. They didn't say, hey, you want to do this. I did that. I did that for myself.
Is it fair to say, that there was so much footage that showed the real you and the positives and things like that, and they just neglected it to make a good storyline?
yeah, I mean that's absolutely true, Lucas. I mean, just to speak a little bit more on what Isaiah was talking about, there's an episode in Last Chance U that's called Life After EMCC. And a couple of the clips that they, edited and added into the show was Isaiah speaking to law enforcement officers, him in court. There's a multiple minute segment where a victim's family is discussing on camera, all of this to try to make it look like Isaiah had some involvement in the killing of an individual, right? So
Absolutely.
one of the things that needs to be clear Isaiah was never convicted for any form of homicide. He was never convicted of first, second, third degree murder. He was never convicted for voluntary manslaughter. He was never convicted of involuntary manslaughter. He was never sentenced for murder, not any degree of murder. He was never sentenced for any form of manslaughter. Just by cutting and pasting and editing in that manner, what they're doing is they're trying to make it into this highly dramatized murder episode,
Mm-hmm.
down this rabbit hole to gain audience attention. Like audience viewers love, murder mysteries, drama, that surrounds like killing. And, unfortunately for them, this is not that case. And, what they did was throw out any sort of integrity for their own financial gain. And that's the issue here, right? The problem is, right, when people watch the show and it's, one of the most popular shows since coming out in the first season, you know, when Isaiah or one of the other named plaintiffs in the matter go to apply for a job, employers don't do that extensive background search where they'll see, oh, wait, Isaiah wasn't actually convicted of murder. Oh, wait, Isaiah had nothing to do with a homicide, right? Isaiah wasn't sentenced for murder. He wasn't sentenced for manslaughter, right? They just go, oh, this application says Isaiah Wright. Oh, yeah, I saw him in that show. He was convicted of murder, right? They don't do that extensive background check. So now all prospective employers, throw his resume away, throw his application away. And that's the harm, that's the issue that media conglomerates like Condé Nast, like Netflix need to stop doing. Without these guys like Isaiah, like the other named plaintiffs, every named defendant doesn't make a lot of money, right? East Mississippi doesn't sell that amount of merchandise with Wright on the back, right? With John Franklin on with him on a clip or a Instagram reel or a story, whatever it may be, right? So they're using the name, image, likeness to their own financial gain, right? The uh, NJCAA, right? Revenue exploded after the release of the show. Why? Because people saw this. People loved Isaiah. They loved John Franklin. They loved DeAndre Johnson, right? And it attracted attention, right? They see these, amazing football players and they want to go watch games and such, right? So where's the equity and fairness in Condé Nast, Netflix, Greg Whiteley making millions and millions and millions of dollars and then not compensating the individuals that are the reason for that? Without these guys, they don't make that money. I see other comments saying, oh, these guys are already rich. Let it be clear that not one plaintiff named in the suit received a single penny, not from selling merchandise, not from the production of the show, not from streaming the show, nothing. Nobody got a single penny. And then the last, I guess most popular comment that I see is, oh, they can't recover because during that time, NIL wasn't allowed to be compensated. Let me just start by saying a massive NCAA settlement, occurred for multiple billions of dollars. I think it was $3 billion around there, called the House settlement. And again, it allows players who played in the NCAA from 2016 to 2021, I believe, to recover a portion of the proceeds. Why? Because they realized that there was such inequity in bargaining power, right? So when you're shoving contracts in kids' faces, saying sign this, or your entire dream, everything you've put forth, right, is going to get thrown out the window, of course they're going to sign it. So the same situation is here. Why is everyone allowed to get enriched and deep in their pockets? And the guys that are risking their lives for the sport and the ones that are being filmed do not get a single penny from it. Yeah, so I think there's three components. Isaiah can fill in any gaps that I may miss here, but there's three components, right? I mean, obviously that financial part is, what is just fair and equitable. We're not asking for some crazy number, right? The number is something we feel is fair, right? You guys all made millions from showing our faces. Why are we not entitled to anything, right? Another portion of this is these massive media corporations need to be aware that you can't just manipulate characters and manipulate people's lives just for your own dramatization and to make your show, I guess, or movie, whatever it is, popular, right? You're ruining people's lives forever just for your own pockets, just for your own financial gain. So it stands for something bigger than just oh, let's get compensated for NIL. That's a huge portion of it, of course. But now you have, employment issues, you have life issues, reputation, people spend their whole lives building their reputation. Your reputation is something so sacred. Media corporations need to know that, while you're going to dramatize shows, it can't come at the risk of ruining someone's entire reputation.